Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit Podcast. My name is Rob. This is episode 38, and I'm excited. It's a new week. I'm pretty excited to be here today. I got some things to show you. Got some quotes to go through. Want to show you a Fit Fighter of the Week, of course, and also just give you a quick tip this week and then end it off with somebody who is just absolutely killing it and pushing their body to the max. Now, again, it's the beginning of June. This year is cruising right along. It really does feel like it was just, June of last year. This whole year and a half has been quite wild. So I hope everybody out there, is doing great out there. And hopefully you're well on your way on your fitness journey. But I wanted to start off this podcast with some quotes. Okay, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I just haven't done it. So now I'm here. I want to share some quotes with you just to, get our minds right. All right. So I'm going to share the first quote. Now, quote starts off by saying, "The last 3 or 4 reps is what makes the muscle grow. The area of pain divides a champion from someone who is not a champion." It's pretty intense, and that is from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Might have heard of him. He's been 7-time Mr. Olympia, bodybuilding champion. And also, everybody knows Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? He even was governor at one point. And if there's anybody that knows the human body and what it takes to achieve a high level of fitness, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And what he's talking about in this quote is just saying that, pretty much, if you go to the gym, I see it all the time, right? It happens for most people. It's even happened for me back in the day as well. What happens is that you pick, like when you're exercising, no matter what you're doing, there's a level to it, right? There's a certain duration that you're going to do it for. If it's a cardio machine, it's how many minutes you're going to go or how many meters you're going to go, and then at what difficulty level that's going to be at. And when you transfer over to any type of weights, barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, anything, there's a certain amount of weight that you're going to pick up. There's a certain amount of reps you're going to do and a certain amount of sets. Now, what happens for most people is you choose like a low to moderate size. Like if we're going to talk about dumbbells or barbells, just weights in general, most people pick a light to moderate amount of weight, which is fine. Right, that's fine to work out. You don't have to be lifting heavy all the time. But most people pick that weight, and then let's say the optimal amount of repetitions for them, like say that, out of 20 repetitions, 20 reps would be them absolutely dying from reps 16 to 20, right? Absolutely could barely get it. Well, most people in that same bandwidth, most people don't push themselves to that 20 repetitions. And there is an argument that you shouldn't even do that consistently. So I'm not trying to say always do this, but you should definitely sometimes do this. Almost majority of the time. Depending on what you're doing, you can't really, I'm not going to get into it. You can't really burn yourself out. I won't get into that. But most people out of that 20 rep range, they're sticking around 5 to 8 repetitions. They're sticking far below their actual capability, and they're not really pushing themselves. And that is where, going into the gym, you're still training, you're still moving your body, still exercising your muscles, but you're not doing it to the extent that your muscles are actually getting a good workout. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's talking about if you're going to be a bodybuilder or whatever, but this applies to trying to lose weight. This applies to just trying to improve yourself in the gym, right? If you're trying to lose weight, guess what? You're also trying to lift some weight. And all of a sudden you're doing like 10 or so different workouts consistently week in and week out. And now you're trying to lift a little bit more weight than you did the day prior or the week prior or the month prior. So no matter what, you're going to be confronted with this. And that's why I think this is a great quote, just coming from, the champion, the champ, the bodybuilding champ, the dude who, really brought in a new age of working out and fitness. So yeah, great information from him. Now, moving on to the next quote. So, it starts here. If we could give every individual the right amount of nourishment and exercise, not too little and not too much, we would have found the safest way to health. Now, this sounds like something you'd be like, yeah, this is pretty bright. This is pretty knowledgeable. This must have come about in recent years. I mean, this quote could probably be, some top scientist or somebody who studies the body or nutrition probably came up with this in the year 2021, right? That's what you would kind of think, because this is a balanced approach to it. This person is not saying to go all in one area and to just go and clang and bang all day and throw up weights and reach those max 20 reps all the time, right? This person was not around in 2021. He wasn't even around in AD. This is Hippocrates, right? It's H-I, but you say it huh. Hippocrates, who is around in 370 BC. He is considered the father of medicine. He was just a physician back in the day, and he made this observation. And I think it was a great observation from such a long time ago. And it's weird. It's like, that's exactly what, the fitness world, if you're just coming into it, you're just trying to lose weight, you might not have seen it, but you might have not been paying attention over the last probably 20 years or so. When I was growing up, it was the other way around. It was, Arnold was, I'm not saying that this is what he was, promoting or anything, but he kind of let out this era of just pushing yourself in the gym a lot and really that bodybuilding mentality. And it really has swung to one way. For a long time, the advice would just swing to one side, and it would just focus in on a niche or niche and just tell you to follow this, right? Well, that's just not the way it is. Like, more so in 2021, through data, maybe through listening to Hippocrates, but mostly through data, right? Science-based approach to this is that, a balanced way where you're not doing an excessive amount of exercise, and you're not doing, like what I was talking about, only doing 5 to 8 repetitions. You're more in that 10 to 15 repetition range most of the time. And then sometimes when you need a break, you drop down, and other times when you need to, or when you just feel like pushing yourself, then you reach up to that 20 rep max. But the way to go forward, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to be healthy, it's this balanced approach. And you have to take this balanced approach with everything you're doing. So if you're in a nutrition program and they're telling you to hyper focus on one single thing, like a juice cleanse, and they're saying that this is going to work, it's more than likely not going to work. And you can look into the data on that. Most of the time, those things do not work. And that same thing goes for working out. If somebody is telling you only to do barbell exercises or only to do kettlebell exercises, maybe to never do cardio or to only do one specific cardio machine, those should all be red flags to that. You're probably not in the right lane. You're not in the right groove that you should be in. Anything that gives you a more balanced approach is really looking more towards your health and more towards your betterment in the long run, right? So I like these two quotes, wanted to share it with everybody. Sorry if it was not the best segment, right? It's the first week, okay? Give me a break, right? All right, either way, let's move on. I'll have those quotes listed in the description box as well. If you want to, copy, paste, throw it up on the IG, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. Also, this week, I got to get this off my chest, right? I was debating on talking about this, but, you know, this is my podcast, right? So I feel like, and it's, you know, specific to what I'm talking about, fitness, right? So I'm going to talk about it. I apologize in advance, but it was just really weird this week. So every week I look to try to find a fit fighter, right? I try to find somebody who is losing weight. And through this process, there's a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of people that post up in, you know, weight loss journey or whatever that aren't doing any sort of weight loss at all. There's a lot of businesses I got to look through, but a lot of it is cruising through like the fitness world, weight loss journey world of Instagram. And it is, I mean, that is not a journey that I like taking every single week. It is really brings me down. And so that's why I am here talking to you about this. If you post on Instagram, or if you're taking a bunch of selfies every day and you're tracking your weight loss and you're just pumped up about yourself, you're like, wow, this is great. And maybe you want to document your progress throughout this whole time. You want, like, through pictures and through text on what you're eating and what you're doing. That's absolutely great, right? That's I have no problems with that whatsoever. I don't even really have a problem with what I'm about to say. It's just something that I'm noticing, and it doesn't seem healthy, right? What I'm noticing is that it seems like a lot of people aren't doing it for internal reasons, or they're posting all the time for external reasons, to gain followers, to gain attention, to just to kind of put a spotlight on what they're doing, and to, just kind of give an extension of the mirror, that they're posting up on the gram. And it's a lot of people doing it, right? It is a lot of people doing it. And to me, it's understandable, right? To me, it is understandable, because if you go through a transformation, like, transformations change people, right? It's called a transformation for a reason. And there's mental and physical transformations that occur when you put yourself in the gym and you start, pushing weight or running or any of that stuff, right? There's transformations that are going to take place. And when you are in the beginning of it, when you're in the throes of the very initial part, to where you go from, most of the time it's guys, right, that are doing this. It happens with women for sure, but there's just like a lot of dudes doing this. When you go from somebody who, like, doesn't lift a lot of weight, and then all of a sudden you're lifting heavier and heavier amount of weight, and you're a year to 2 years into being in the gym and you were never in the gym before, that's a transformation, right? And it seems like for a lot of people, that transformation requires a lot of staring in the mirror, a lot of looking in the mirror, and a lot of selfies are being taken, and a lot of selfies are being posted, it seems like they're not being posted to highlight themselves for themselves, but rather to gain attention from other people, which I don't think that's very healthy. I find it very kind of ironic that some of these people that you see out there, if you're running a business or whatever, you're trying to do all that stuff, that's great, whatever, I get it. But, it just seems weird that, somebody could be in kind of picturesque, perfect health, right? Perfect physical health. They run all the time, they lift weights, they eat healthy, but their mental health is in the dumps, right? I don't care what you say. I mean, studies have been done. I'm not a lone person. This is not a personal opinion. This is off of studies. Guess what? If you always stare at yourself in the mirror and you always post selfies of yourself and you're addicted to getting likes on Instagram, that's not healthy. So it was just a real bummer to see so many people doing it, right? And again, most people, it does not seem like they're doing it for for that internal value. So I don't know. It was just, it really threw me off today, and I just wanted to give a warning to all of you that can definitely for sure happen to you, right? Again, you're gonna transform your body. You're gonna lose 100 pounds, 160 pounds, or more. And again, that's a huge transformation, and you should be proud of it, and you should be happy about it, 100%. But just be wary if you are now catching yourself always judging your appearance, always holding that transformation in too high of a regard, right? I think that can definitely, it's just shown that it's not beneficial. And all it takes is just noticing it. Like all the people that I talk smack about that are doing this, that are taking for sure way too many selfies, they just got to notice what's at play and what's going on, and I'm sure they'll change. I don't think that these people are inherently like this or anything like that, right? And again, I completely get anybody who finds themselves doing that, right? It's, among many things, the ego is a powerful thing that most people don't have a kind of track on. But I just, for anybody listening to this, trust me, I'm not going to be the one who's going to be pushing on that you should be posting on Instagram more. That's just not me. So if you're going to listen to this podcast, that's what you're going to get. But yeah, I just wanted to give that warning. And it's a good, that should almost be, if you find yourself taking too many selfies, that should be almost a positive for yourself for a little bit, right? Then you got to change it. But you can also look at it as a positive, because that means that you're progressing. That means that there's something that you're proud of that you want to take a picture of, which again, that's great. If you seldomly just want to flex on people, then go ahead and do it. But to make it the only thing you do day in and day out, several times a day, it's just not healthy. And there's a lot of people, there's an insane amount of people doing it on the gram, and then in the gym is absolutely crazy. All right, just, I go to the gym every day, and the things that I happen to catch a glimpse of are astounding to me. All right, but yeah, so I just wanted to say that. None of you probably care about that. But let's get into the Fit Fighter of the Week, all right? I want to show you somebody who's been losing some weight. Let's do this. Okay, so we have Jessica Blaine. If you go to www_Jessica Blaine on Instagram, it's linked down below, or if you just pull up your Instagram, if you're on the Apple Podcast, just go check her out. She has lost 123 pounds, right? It's a good amount of weight. And she, I believe, seemed to mostly do it from just diet and exercising. I checked into her posts a little bit. She posts a lot. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, you can see the transformation from here. Again, 123 pounds lighter. That's inspiring, right there. That's a huge amount of weight to lose, and it's such a long journey to do that. So props to Jessica. Now, and I'm a part fan. I don't completely endorse Weight Watchers, right? I think it's okay, right? It gets you on the right track as far as like looking at the things that you eat and trying to see what's inside of them. It is, so it's okay in that regards. It definitely seems like it's working for a lot of people, so I'm all for it in that end. But one thing that I see, which I'll get into in a second. Let's go over Jessica real quick. But so if you go follow Jessica, one, you're going to get that inspiration, right? She's going to show you the before and after pictures. She's going to tell you about her journey, and also she shows you a lot of food, which is great. So she'll show you what she made, it looks like, and then she'll show you the breakdown of the Weight Watchers. And some of these things, you look at it, I'm looking at pancakes, eggs, looks like some ketchup, nasty, and some sausage, and a whole bunch of maple syrup. And initially, you'd be like, well, the eggs are pretty good, sausage ain't that bad. That big pancake, though, with the maple syrup, that can't be good, right? but you look on her little tracker and, you know, the pancake is actually filled with protein. So that's okay. And then the maple syrup is sugar-free. So I think you can definitely get some good recipes off of her. And if you're struggling to find, you know, a somewhat healthy way to eat, you know, go follow Jessica Blaine. All right. Again, she is set up with the Weight Watchers. I do have to say it. It's just trying to be real with everybody. Okay. Nothing bad about Jessica at all. But it does seem like these Weight Watchers, like a bunch of people who are doing this Weight Watcher thing. I don't know how it happens or why it happens, but it seems like a lot of them either create a new account or they change their name and they put the WW_ before their name. So I don't know what the deal is with all of that. It's just, it is a little weird. And also it's, you know, she has a link to a free month of Weight Watchers. So I don't know how deeply she's entrenched in Weight Watchers, and what that all entails, but you can't deny the weight loss, right? She lost 123 pounds. So good on her. Go check her out. She is a Fit Fighter of the Week. Again, she's got some great before and after pictures, and the food, you know, the food's interesting, right? So go check that out. Now, before I move on to my tip for the week, I do want to say, since I brought up Weight Watchers, I do want to say a little bit. Again, I'm mostly on board with the Weight Watchers, all right? But it seems like there's this thing where, and I get it, okay, but it seems like there's this thing where people who are trying to lose weight, the new food that they're about to eat, they try to kind of mimic what they were eating before, like with the maple syrup, with the cream and everything, and it could be sugar-free and it could be completely healthy for you, but it seems like a lot of people try to carbon copy the deliciousness of actually unhealthy dessert, right? Unhealthy dessert is, if it's good, right? It's really delicious. And I think you should just leave it that way instead of carbon copying everything over. Like searching for, you know, I get searching for the tastiest way to eat every single day. But as far as when it comes to treats and kind of, and like having something like a healthy pizza, I don't know, that's kind of on the same plane as, you know, trying to go plant-based and eat this meatless burgers. Like I don't really get why you're trying to eat a meatless burger. Why don't you just eat plant-based whatever? And that's the same with healthy and unhealthy. Why are you trying to eat healthy food that's dressed up as unhealthy food? Just eat healthy food and savor those different tastes that it gives you, and source it from a better place, or cook better recipes to make it more tasty, but just a different kind of taste. I would say that's probably in the long term, that's probably a healthier way to go, instead of like kind of tricking yourself into thinking that you're eating something that's bad for you or whatever, unhealthy, but you're actually eating something that's still probably not that healthy, but not as bad as its carbon copy partner, right? I just think that's a weird thing. You should just separate it, right? Eat the healthy food however it comes, throw on some spices, some olive oil, whatever. Don't go crazy, obviously, but just take it for what it is. Same thing with the plant-based stuff. You want to eat some plants, eat salad, okay? Eat the salad if that's what you want to eat. I don't get the trying to mimic and carbon copy these other things. Because, again, I just feel like that leaves the door open to just, you know, swapping out, you know, instead of having the protein-filled pancakes with the sugar-free maple syrup, you know, one day you might go, yeah, this is great, but what about, why don't I just get the real stuff? I mean, what's the difference? It's just going to be a couple more points or a couple more grams of sugar, and I just think that leaves the door open for it, because you just might kid yourself into thinking that it's not that big of a difference. And hey, some of this food really doesn't look like it's going to be much of a difference. And I'm not talking any smack about Jessica Blaine. I'm just saying this is just something that I've noticed, and it's something, if you are going to go the Weight Watchers route, it's just to be aware of that, right? That's just my 2 cents on it. But let's get off that. Let me move into the tip of the week. So usually I give you a nutrition tip, maybe a fitness tip. This week I wanted to give you an overall tip. All right, this covers the nutrition tip and the fitness tip all in one. All right, are you ready? Are you ready for it? All right, I feel like I'm kind of maybe rushing through this podcast. I apologize, right? I appreciate everybody who is listening. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, let's continue. So the tip of the week is to look at, and let me explain this, right? And this might bum out some people. Well, it'll for sure bum out some people, and it might deter some people as well. But the tip of the week is to realize that losing weight, if you're trying to lose weight, like when I talk about losing weight, I'm talking about 25, 50 plus pounds. When you're trying to lose weight, it's full time, right? It might not begin full time, but at some point you will be full time. Hopefully, if everything goes well, you will be full time into losing weight, because that's how you actually lose weight. You don't lose weight by completely dreading your workout every single day. And then since you dread your workout every single day, you're probably not putting out as much as you want, and you're probably trying to leave as early as possible, right? That's not full time, okay? And also, if you're doing that, right, if you're not full time, if you're trying to play part time, you're only trying to think about losing weight when you're in the gym, then what are you doing the rest of the day, right? That's where nutrition comes in. If you just think that you can play it part time, well, I'll just go exercise and I'll lose weight eventually. I don't need to change up my food that much because I'm lifting more weights, I'm building muscle. I don't need to change any of that. That's not full time. That's part time, right? And that's not going to give you the results that you want. It pretty much never works. And that's the same with most things that you go throughout your day. Is you need to look at all of this as full time. And it can be thinking about that right now, if you're just starting in the beginning of your whole entire journey, thinking about like, oh my God, I got to be full time. That means I'm going to be waking up thinking about losing weight and all that, just micromanaging my entire day. It sounds like a bummer for a lot of people. For me, that definitely sounds like a bummer, and that would not excite me, which is why my thing is that I'm saying that to lose weight, you have to be full-time. That doesn't mean that you have to start off as a full-time person losing weight. You can. I call it white knuckling, right? You just white knuckle your way through. You just take your entire prior way of eating, your entire prior sedentary lifestyle, and you completely flip it over. You exchange all the unhealthy food for healthy food. You exchange the caloric surplus for a caloric deficit, and you exchange the nights on the couch for nights at the gym. And you do that all from one day to the next, and then you white knuckle your way through, right? That would be going basically full time right off the bat. That has pretty much proven for many reasons, right? But for most people, about 80 to 90% of people who do that, they don't win. They don't succeed at it. Okay, so I don't think that's probably the best option to do it. So when I mean full time, that means that you're going to start off maybe like an intern, right? You're going to start off trying to pick some things off. Okay, like when you see, like for me as an example, when I started getting back into exercising again, because I took off several years. And I started getting back into it. I am a bad example. I did the flip, right? I did flip everything in one day, and I white knuckled it. But so I'm not a good example of that. But if you were to do it the way that I think it's going to yield you the best results, is maybe one day you just say, hey, I'm going to start exercising. And maybe a workout program says to you, hey, you got to show up 5 days a week. And you go, nah, I'm going to show up 1 day a week. And then you do that for a couple months, and then you build yourself to then all of a sudden you are working out 5 days a week. And then all of a sudden you want to work out not just 5 days, maybe you want to work out 6 days. And you can kind of place that same formula along eating healthy and all of that. You can build yourself into it. You can start off as an intern who's just not, you're doing stuff, but you're not really doing anything big. And then over time, as you get more comfortable with what's going on and you're learning more, or you're just living a more diverse lifestyle to where some days you're working out, some days you're not, and some days you're eating healthy and some days you're not, and you're noticing differences. Like if you start noticing, hey, days where I work out, I actually feel better. Days where I don't work out, if it's not a rest day and I just skip my workout and I don't work out, that's not a good feeling, right? And you start to notice this, and then you go, you know what? I think I'm going to bump up to a part-time, right? And the fitness boss, right? The losing weight boss will always let you upgrade to part-time, full-time, whatever. And then you just start moving through the whole entire process from there. And then you become full-time. But the realization is, the tip is that at some point you have to be looking at the full-time, right? Most people just kind of stumble into possibly being full-time. Well, if I was to be accurate, most people don't even do that. Most people fall off. But out of the ones who do succeed, it's a mix of people who slowly build into it, but they just start off very small, and then just over time, they kind of have goals. They don't really have goals, but then all of a sudden, they find themselves working out 5 days a week and eating healthy most of the time. And then all of a sudden, 3-5 years later, they're a completely different person. And then you have the people who completely flip everything over at once. So yeah, the tip is to be the full-time, whether to start it right away, to be like, hey, I'm going to white knuckle it, right? I'm going to do it, or to change up your plans and not think that the little bit of interning or part-time work that you're doing is going to actually pay off in the long run. This isn't a job that you're accumulating money, right? If you move through this process, right, if you upgrade, if you go from intern to part-time to full-time, then it's going to work. But if you're only in part-time and you only see yourself sometimes working out or not, or sometimes watching your diet, and you're just perpetually living in this part-time kind of mindset, then you can't really expect the results that you want. You can't, if you're not watching your caloric deficit, if you're not watching your food all the time, if you're not watching your exercise habits, if you're not doing these things, you're not watching your sleep, the nutrients that are going in your body, if you're not drinking water, if you're not doing these things, it's just not gonna work out. The body needs full attention when it's doing this. It needs full attention. And again, if you're just starting and you're just realizing this now, that this part-time stuff is not gonna work, and you're like, damn it, Rob, why you gotta ruin my day? Well, one, I'm sorry, but look, I get it, right? I'm telling you that it's gonna be more difficult than what you previously thought. So again, this could shake some people loose, right? But it also can embolden other people. So I would hope that you take this message and you utilize it for yourself, and you're able to just try to go full time, right? Just I know it's difficult, right? But put out a plan. This is an extension of the tip. This is something I was going to talk about in another episode, but you got to put out a plan, all right? If you're just sitting there thinking to yourself like, hey, I'm going to lose 150 pounds, and you're just kind of like bumbling through, and you're just kind of going without any real direction, right? You're just like, this is going to work. I would say for most of the time, for most people, if you don't have things written down, if you don't have things kind of set in kind of a stone for this. I don't really like setting things in stone. I like things to be flexible, but to kind of put things, if you don't have that, right? If you don't have the 10 commandments, as they say, you don't have the tablet of things that you must do, then more than likely you're not going to do the things that you're trying to do, right? There's like a quote, I forgot who said it. It's like, how can you hit the target, right, if you don't even have a target? I forgot who said that, but it's a pretty good, I butchered the quote, but it's true. If you don't have a plan for all of this, right, which is usually aids itself to people who are part-time in it, right? Most people who are doing it full-time, they got a plan. They got it all laid out and they're locked in. If you're take a step back and you look at yourself and what you've been doing and you realize that you don't really have a plan, you haven't really been keeping track of how many times you are going to the gym every single week, and you haven't been keeping track of how healthy you have been eating day in and day out, it's more than likely than not that you haven't been putting yourself in the best spot. And that's not a good thing, right? Because it's just wasted. You should look at it as wasted time. And it's kind of wasted time. You do learn something by going through this, right? You're kind of learning the hard way. Hopefully, if you make it through, but you could also fall off, which is why I'm telling you about this. But sorry, I lost my train of thought real quick. All right. You know what? It's Wednesday. Well, it's Tuesday night. The lights are getting hot on me right now, and I am sorry, but I lost my train of thought. Let me get it back. I think I'm sweating a little bit. I forgot. All I know is that, look, if you're trying to lose weight, you got to be serious about it. It's just how it is. You got to be serious, and you have to have this plan set up. And I know it's a bummer. I know it's just not something that people want to hear. And it's not, going into what I was talking about before with Hippocrates. Look, it hasn't always been this way, right? We have, over the past 10 to 20 years, there's been shortly after the adoption of the TV, people realized that they could sell stuff to people. People realized that they can make a commercial and they can put a phone number up and they can have these products that people could call into and they could buy. They could buy things over the phone. And ever since that happened, shady people realize, that along with shady people realizing that people who are trying to lose weight are typically in a vulnerable state and they're kind of looking for the answer, right? And so that's an issue. And they realize that since they are looking for the answer, it's because that they're not really familiar with the space either. So they can kind of put a bunch of words together and put some mock program, if it's even like a real program, together, and they can just say that it's going to work, and then they use the words fast, and all of a sudden, boom, you're in some sort of crash diet that you're going to, waste, a month or 2 months of trying to do this cleanse or whatever, to then find out that it didn't help you or work at all. It's not sustainable. And then you just have a sour taste in your mouth from it, right? And I've talked to a lot of people who have gone through that. They hit up the ad, they hit up the short-term whatever, and then all of a sudden, it didn't work, and they go, weight loss ain't for me. I don't need to lose weight. I'm different, right? I can't lose weight. There's a lot of things that usually come out from that experience, mostly not positive. Just like my friend. My friend bought a Kirby vacuum from somebody, and he called me on the phone while he was doing it, and I told him, hey, stop. Kick that salesman out of your house right now. Whatever he's doing, it's not going to be good, right? You might think you're getting a vacuum. It's not. You might get a vacuum, but it's going to come with a bunch of extra things. Well, guess what? That dude oversold him the vacuum. The vacuum ended up not working, and he took my friend's vacuum. And guess what? My friend hates all salespeople now. He hates all of them from that one experience. And again, that's a personality type, but You get my point. That happens to a lot of people. You have a bad experience with something and you just don't feel like, diving in again. And that's why I want to give a warning out to everybody that if you're trying to do these things, I want you to avoid the bad experience, right? I want you to avoid the crash diet. I want you to avoid just taking things part-time and thinking that they're going to work, right? It's just not going to work. You got to go full-time. You got to be all in on it. And you'll lose some weight. And talk to anybody, any of these people. Look at the prior episodes of all the fit fighters. All of them exemplify dedication and consistent effort over time. So that seems to be the key. So you're going to hear me talk about it over and over again, because this is like the foundation. This is a fundamental way to lose weight. It's just constant effort over time, being humble, right? Having some humility, looking at yourself, realizing that you're doing things wrong, and just tweaking them, changing them, and then moving forward, hopefully a better and more improved version of yourself. And then over time, slowly, right, you're going to lose the weight and you're going to reach the weight goal that you want. And then, then you're at a good, healthy weight. You're eating healthy. You're living healthy. You have some strength in your body. You can start doing whatever you want to do. You want to go hiking, you get to go hiking. You can go swimming. You can go biking. Whatever it is you want to do in this world, you can do. That also includes laying on the couch and playing video games. But you will have the luxury of being able to do that. Everybody has the luxury of being able to do that. Not everybody, but you know what I mean. Most people do. But there's a lot of guilt that comes in with that if you're not exercising or eating healthy. And then the health implications and all that. So, sorry. I went all over with this episode, and that's my bad, right? Let's put this episode right up there on no bueno, right? But let me save your ear and let me finish this off with the Fit Freak of the Week. And this is actually somebody that got me excited, right? I found him searching through the gram, right when I was in the throes of gaining some depression from looking at all these people taking selfies of themselves. I found Reinhard Nell, and he's a coach, right? And if you go to rain_train on Instagram, you will see that this dude just gets after it. If you're watching the video, he puts straps on, he chains himself to the ground, he starts jumping, pushing up weight. I mean, this guy is an absolute, and I know he'll take this as a compliment, he is an absolute psychopath. Like, he is very strong, very agile. He's jumping up. He can lift a lot of weight. He's very explosive. And again, if you're looking for somebody who is just doing like the band thing, nobody really worked out with bands in the 1990s or even early 2000s. And even early 2010s, right? So this guy is on the other spectrum. He's at the end of the spectrum when it comes to fitness, and he is, that looks dangerous. He has a band on his foot, and he had that barbell, and he's just throwing it up right next to his face. The only thing that had to happen was that one bad throw, tweak, and that thing comes straight down at his face. So I wouldn't suggest to follow all of his workouts, right? But a lot of these workouts seem to be great. And again, he's killing it. So yeah, he is a Fit Freak of the Week. So go check him out. Everything's linked down below. I got to get out of here. All right. I apologize for losing my train of thought this episode. It's just started getting hot in here. And yeah, maybe I'm just a little bit too tired this week. But yeah, other than that, that's episode 38. Okay, that's episode 38. Thank you for coming by, and I will see you next week.